Hi everyone, welcome to today's webinar. I'm Karl, the head of client strategy at Bob. I'm joined by Amy, head of customer success, and we're excited to have a couple of guests today to join us in our fireside chat in about 15 minutes. So today we're going to go through wins, fails, and fixes across SMS, across Black Friday, Cyber Monday, long weekend, and what we've learned over the years. Get some insights from our guests as well. So I was reading last week, the Australian Retailers Association, they're projecting that this year, Black Friday, Cyber Monday sales will be around $6.4 billion. That's about 4% higher than last year. So we can see why it's so important to get the strategy right and look at the learnings from other people and what they've done on Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So just a couple of things before we kick off. Down the bottom of your screen, if you want to chuck a couple of comments in the chat section, we'll endeavour to get to those if time allows. Obviously, react to some of the speakers if you feel the need to do so. And then also, no need to do screenshots throughout this presentation. The whole recording will be sent through to you, including a couple of handouts and takeaways that we'll send to you in the coming days. Um, so I think, Blair, let's get started. We've got quite a lot of people joining today's webinar. Very excited about that, but also quite a breadth of experience across. So a number of people that are quite new to SMS in Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Also some very experienced people. So hopefully there's something for everyone today to take away. Um, Amy's going to go into a section in the section across MMS and SMS, the do's and the don'ts. We'll jump into the fireside chat. I'll go through our guests when we get to that section. And then at the end, if we've got time, hopefully we can get through some of the questions that have been sent to us prior to the webinar, and then some of the ones that have come through during the webinar. So without further ado, I'll hand over to our client success guru, Amy, and we'll showcase a few things for you.
Thanks heaps, Carl. So before I jump into the workshop, I do want to share two key industry updates for everyone. ACMA clearly had our webinar in mind this morning when they gave us an update on the Sender ID registry late yesterday. So I can share that the launch has been pushed back to the 1st of July next year. We as a telco can start registering customer sender IDs from the end of November, but there's a much longer window before enforcement happens. So breathe a sigh of relief. It's no longer happening during the busiest time of year. From here, we're reviewing the industry standards and we will start formal comms after Black Friday. The second update is the release of iOS 26 for iPhone. So this does change the SMS experience for some users. I'll get Britta to pop a flow into the chat shortly that you can download, but the key points to note are the screen unknown senders feature is not enabled by default. But if it is, when you send an SMS, users will still get a notification on their home screen, and SMS will appear in two folders, so both the main messages inbox and the unknown senders folder. The experience applies to all SMS, so irrespective of whether you send from a sender name, number, it's delivery notifications, doctor appointments, verification codes. And to give you an idea of impact, so Apple has a 56% market share in Australia. Of that, around 80% of iPhones are able to upgrade to the new operating system, and we expect approximately 35% of phones to have that setting enabled. So based on this, it may impact around 16% of your database. One interesting thing we've noticed since the release is there's been a slight spike in SMS click-through rates. So we already have an initial fix in the pipeline for Bob, but I would encourage you to flag any obvious changes with your platform providers as well if you're noticing the same. Shifting into our getting ready for Black Friday, there are three key things I'd really encourage you to look at now. The most important thing is list growth and data hygiene to me. Black Friday is the perfect time to grow your database, and you really want to be making sure you're capturing opt-in all steps of the customer journey. So looking at a single or multi-step pop-up. On the screen are some really good examples that capture mobile but also reduce customer friction. You want to be capturing mobile and opt-in at both account registration and checkout. And lastly, reach out to your existing customers so you can use email campaigns to also drive that SMS opt-in. When you're capturing mobile numbers, I guess the second part of this point is it's so important that your numbers are feeding into whatever platform you're using in both the right field and the right format. If not, now's the time to do a cleanse. It's something we help our customers do to reduce cost, improve their SMS delivery and ROI. I've helped customers unlock hundreds of thousands of mobile numbers that they couldn't reach purely because of formatting or field issues. So now's the time to look at that. Secondly, I'd encourage you to review last year. Black Friday is really not the time to experiment. So you want to be focusing on tactics and messages that you know perform well. So I'd encourage you to look at last year's strategy, what worked, what didn't with SMS. Look at all of your prior SMS campaigns to see what resonated with your customers and learn from your competitors as well. And then take all those learnings to start guiding your 2025 strategy. And then the third key point, if you haven't explored automations, I encourage you to test these and ensure they're SMS enabled. These are really critical to maximize your success, both during the period, but also for ongoing revenue before Black Friday, which is super important. I've seen ROIs of up to 300 specifically for flows using SMS. And if you're unsure which ones to tackle first, I'd probably recommend the abandoned cart and welcome message. And then obviously between now and Black Friday, you want to be using that time to test the timing, the tone, and the creative of the messaging. Shifting into actual campaign strategy, I think we all know Black Friday is one of the noisiest times of the year, but SMS still gives you that instant cut through. So when we're talking about SMS campaigns that really work well, the areas of the journey is your early access. So whether that's a VIP exclusive or announcing your sale going live online before it hits stores, announcing the start of your promotion, any updates that happen during the promotion. So whether that's new styles being dropped, extra discounts, and then of course that final push towards the end of the sale. And in terms of timing and cadence, this is one I get asked about almost daily. It really does depend on your brand and strategy. So when it comes to the best time to send, if you haven't already tested this, I would guide you to have a look at when your audience is most active online. So that will give you kind of a good indication as when they're most likely to engage with your messaging as well. Obviously, the general rules apply. So SMS is really good for real-time updates or when there's a sense of urgency. To keep momentum during the period, I'd encourage you to keep Black Friday and Cyber Monday as quite separate events. And then, of course, making your channels work together. So you don't want them to appear separate. You can, start to prime the journey with email, and then as soon as you're live, hit them with the SMS. And then one other thing that may be worth considering to help your brand stand out during the period is MMS. So we've seen some spectacular results for other customers. It's not worked so well. So it's definitely one to test, but the key learnings I've seen so far is the lifespan of an MMS appears to be much longer. So SMS, you typically see engagement around the 24 to 48-hour mark. But with MMS, we're seeing people coming back to that message and engaging for well over a week. And then if I can just recommend one thing is make the most of what MMS has to offer. You're not limited to 160 characters. So, you're a much longer message. So if any extra information or description can be added to encourage that engagement, add it. And then in terms of the image itself, I'd recommend a GIF rather than a static image. So one recent customer A/B test found, the click-through rate was boosted by 50% and the opt-outs were reduced by 66%, and the GIF being the only difference between those two. So some really key learnings. I will get Britta to drop in our SMS and MMS by design guides into the chat so you're set up for success during the period. But otherwise, Karl, I think we'll jump straight into the fireside chat and get some learnings from Alex and Justin. So I will hand over to you.
Thanks, Amy. Yeah, some great points then. And just reminding everyone, we will send all this through to you so you can go through all the steps, especially the data detox, the data cleanse up front. So moving on, very, very excited to have our two guests today. Fantastic expertise in this space. We've got Alex Coussy, the founder, CRM and lifecycle marketing expert at Coucou Marketing. And we're also joined by Justin Bausch, the CEO and founder at Style My Wall. So welcome, gentlemen. Wonderful to have you on today's webinar to share your knowledge with everyone on the call.
Thank you. Thank you for organizing.
Absolute pleasure. I might just move straight into it. I might send this one your way, Justin. What's one tactic that delivered big results for you last year?
Yeah, in terms of a tactic, this is probably a bit of a dry one, but it's probably the most important one that we found, and it's expanding on what Amy was talking about in terms of data cleansing. What a lot of people don't know is if you have a lot of invalid numbers on your database, when it actually sends as an SMS, you still get charged for that text. A lot of people think it's like email where it just bounces back. So when we actually spent the time before Black Friday, working alongside Amy and the guy at the Tour Bob, they helped us change all those invalid numbers to either get rid of the ones that we can't find that we can fix, or we change, the country codes in order for it to be valid. As a result, the ROI on that text versus previous ones where we didn't do a data cleanse was a lot more impactful. If you can just imagine all those invalid numbers that you've got, I'm sure not many people go back and look to see how clean those numbers are. When you actually do the work, it's very, very impactful. So I think that was our biggest tactic in order to save a lot of money when sending out a text.
Great point, Justin. Is there anything you would avoid this year?
Yeah, one thing that I did wrong was not take into account the character limit properly. I think maybe all of us have been there, but
we've all been there.
Yeah, one or two characters.
Correct, and it went across to SMSs, and it cost a lot more. So what I did in that one was the reason why it went over was I had shop men's and shop women's in the same one. To be honest, I probably should have spent more of the time to segment those out. And that on the back of that, that's actually a good tactic to do. So a lot of people think, oh, Black Friday, do this site wide and just do the one text and make it easier. I think spend the time to actually create those different segments, even if it's shop men's or shop women's or however your company is, because directing them to that landing page where they don't have to do that extra 1 or 2 clicks, it might not seem a lot, but at the same time, it could be that 2 or 3% uplift. So I would say just spend the time working out how you want to segment that.
Yeah, great. Alex, does that line up with what you're seeing on your side across clients?
Yeah, it's very rewarding when you do that data hygiene. It's a bit of a love-hate relationship with the Excel spreadsheet because it's very nitty-gritty and then you have to go into the details. But that's a massive effort, massive ROI as well. I've seen that with a client where they had the phone number stored in the wrong field, the phone number with space, so you can't have that, or not starting with 61, and then using ChatGPT for formatting or just a general, formatting in Excel. Then the audience, it really increased. It was just a few thousand. It was 20,000 before, and then after it went in hundreds of thousands. So that was huge, huge increase. Character length as well, something I see a lot, especially in the flow automation, where the SMS might not go through the same rigorous QA as in the main campaign. So it's like smaller volume of SMS being sent, but then when you're above the character length, it adds up quickly, especially when you have like the use of emojis, those extra character. It looks cool, but then it costs more expensive. I think the biggest trap is that obviously when you're sending a text message, there is going to be mobile traffic coming through, so you need to make sure that the landing page has the nice clear CTA above the fold, and then it's optimized for mobile conversion. So just having a sanity check, as even though you're the one scheduling the campaign, like go through the whole journey and then see what's the user experience. So yeah, that aligns. I think what the biggest trap is that the lack of content variety as well, where there's a lot of SMS offer. As that's what come to mind as first, but you have different type of opportunity like restock alert, VIP incentive, and then to just in point, very smart to segment, not necessarily send to the whole database. Yeah, the same one text to everybody, but you can segment with some key data point that you have available to make it a bit more personalized.
And I think we've seen some great examples of brands putting their personality through into the SMS. And yes, it's only 160 characters, but if you've got that sort of product or the brand has that personality, by all means, be a bit cheeky and bring that through into the SMS. So completely agree with that, Alex. I might just jump onto another question for you, Justin. And I guess it's almost the holy grail of Black Friday, Cyber Monday with a lot of clients is or how are you planning to sort of keep new Black Friday, Cyber Monday customers to get that ultimate second purchase? Like, how do you plan that and think about that?
Yeah, because in the past, a lot of our, I guess, mentality and all our brain power goes to Black Friday, and then we forget that afterwards, how do we actually keep them on? So, what I've done and a lot of other companies that I've worked with, we look at maybe doing fresh new exclusive drops and collections after Black Friday. So we know they're going to purchase in Black Friday, but what type of content can we actually provide them post that? So we do like to hold off a lot of new collections after Black Friday as well to keep it really fresh, as well as then treating those new customers differently in some sort of aspect. So I like to build a bit of a separate welcome flow after Black Friday. So a bit of, we've made it through Black Friday. Here's like these new exclusive drops that we've got. So kind of just tinkering that message a bit, post that, and then just coming up with campaigns leaning towards Christmas, whether that's a 12 days of Christmas type thing. You kind of drip feed one maybe offer every day. It doesn't have to be the best offer, but it could be something that keeps things fresh in that sense. So don't forget, that life exists after Black Friday. I know it's hard, but yeah, just coming up with a different type of promotion or exclusive drop really helps, keeps them engaged.
And I think we've just got our title of next year's webinar, Life Exists After Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So it's the next step. So really, really good insights, Justin. Alex, I might just come back to you on another question because I know you're across a lot of various strategies with your clients. What's the simplest, highest ROI action that viewers and people listening can take now?
Yeah. And before I get to that, I have to say, Justin, he always come up with those key punchline sentences. Last time it was you're driving this you have a Ferrari of an ESP, but you're driving it like a Punto. They're not coming up with the next Black Friday.
Works
Yeah,
in
so
marketing,
So he's in marketing, I can tell. So for the low effort, high return play, there is two. The most obvious one, for sure, there is the abandoned cart, abandoned browse, all those direct limited time offer. Very easy to implement in a welcome, in a cart abandon, and then you can be a bit smarter as well with the targeting and only targeting those people that have not opened the email. So that way you're being cost effective, and then you really take into consideration the email engagement, the digital engagement, and then try with another channel. And what I found, where most revenue comes from, is building this VIP early access list as well. So before Black Friday, and then building an early access. So that practically what that means is get them people first in line with the sale. So, and then they can receive the SMS, the email. It doesn't need to be one day ahead, but more maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. But it's really building this hype around the sale that is coming, and and then after you have a very engaged list. And I've seen last year's the Black Friday revenue with one client. It was 80% of the revenue from the whole Black Friday came from that one email, like a small audience of 2,500 people, and that they generated the most revenue for the whole. So build that list earlier, and then that's an opportunity to warm up the list as well. The SMS list before Black Friday, because they might be receiving a lot of SMS from you, but ahead of time, sign them up and then say, okay, now you're part of the SMS, and see if you can warm them up with the SMS before. So build a VIP early access and then implement it into the automation based on email engagement.
Yeah, great points. Good insights, Alex. And I'm just conscious of time here as well. And we were sent through quite a few questions before the webinar, and it's a nice segue into one of the questions that I'll lead into now, which is similar to what you've just touched on now. One of the questions has come through saying, how soon before Black Friday, Cyber Monday, should we send a warm up or a teaser? I'm seeing some now, but I'd love to get both your insights into when should you start the hype.
I mean, to be honest, it's very subjective with the company that you work for. Honestly, some people want to do it, very like 2 3 weeks out, and get them hyped up. Honestly, I reckon for me, a week before a tease is completely fine to hype them up. We lead pretty busy lives. I think if someone sent me anything earlier than that, I'm gonna forget about it and move on. So I think a week is fine, and then obviously maybe a couple of days before, then get your carts ready type thing tomorrow, the next day. But if we wouldn't want to do that for SMS every single time, because we want to keep that list intact for Black Friday when a lot of unsubscribes or anything like that. So obviously teasing them with emails, and maybe it could even be an SMS tease for your highest engaged type audience, or your VIPs, just to make sure that we know you're thinking about them and not everyone. So just be mindful about how many teasers and who you're teasing to as well.
Okay.
We can be building the early access list without mentioning Black Friday ahead of time, because the trap is that there's gonna be people from a business standpoint holding their holding their purchase until Black Friday comes. So that would be the trap. But right now it's saying sign up for early access to deals and promotion coming up. People, they know what's coming up as well. But and having that message in a BAU campaign as always on. And then also you can change the content of your campaign around more gifting as well, because there's the Black Friday coming. So any gift guide can be a good content opportunity, not necessarily holding the purchase. And a new product launch ahead of Black Friday can help increase with those people that are like waiting for that purchase. We had a discussion with a customer where he was like, oh, this product launch, we do it before Black Friday or after? I would think before, because then you might have some extra sale, might be a bit slow. And something big is coming. I think 48 hour before, prepare your cart. 72 hour before. Plenty of time to build the cart or the wish list to get people ready when you launch.
Perfect. I've got another question here. I know this webinar is about SMS, but do you have any suggestions on how it can work well with EDMs working together? Justin, I don't, either of you can take on that one.
Yeah. The best way I have seen it work together for me is I implement SMS across all my automations, especially abandoned cart, abandoned browse, and I use it as a safety net in terms of, for the first 2 touch points being email. If they haven't purchased on that, then send them SMS as like a last hit, and then I'll change a lot of the copy and creative with Black Friday. And what a lot of companies don't do is they don't split abandoned carts or checkouts based on cart value. We'll send the same dollar value or the same message to someone with $20 in their cart versus $300 in their cart as well. So if you are someone that you're a bit privy with how much you want to spend on SMS, if that's the case, splitting your cart value by dollar value So if someone has a cart value of over $200-300, that is an SMS you might want to definitely have automated to be sent out, and then filter out maybe people with only $20 or $30 in their cart, if you want to be selective as well. So that's a really good way to marry up emails and SMS.
Good point,
It's
Alex.
good point about the cart, and because those people, they're high value customer, so you can spend a bit more money on those customer because they have a high cart, and same with the VIP or high engaged customer. That would be some segments that more likely you have a higher return, especially when it comes to MMS that is more expensive. You can be targeting those high value customer with MMS. What a very good relationship between email and SMS. Just in touch on the automation, and from a campaign perspective, I found very successful in sales period where there is a sale, and then after retargeting engaged customer. So that would be based on your definition, but to me that would be someone that have engaged in the last month or last 3 months, open email, click, purchase, visit the website, check out any of those engagement points. Then retarget those people that have not opened the email in the morning and retarget them with an SMS because they already engaged with the brand, but they just have missed the SMS in the morning because busy, but most likely. And I've seen $9,000 in revenue for $100 spend. So it was sent to a very tiny audience. And to give you some perspective, normally in EDM for this brand is around 10, 25K, 40K. So it was like a really good ROI, more than 55 ROI for that. So like using the email engagement is another good way to use SMS and email on. Yeah.
Perfect. I can probably squeeze one more quick question is, we've been talking about the wins and the successes and all that. Let's flip it. What are a couple of no-nos that you've seen or you just avoid or make sure you don't go anywhere near when you're sending an SMS out?
I mean, probably my point earlier about the two extra characters. That's obviously the big no-no. Really test your personalization, because obviously you've seen, sometimes I just signed up for an event. I think it was an entrepreneur summit event, and they sent the wrong month in of when it was going to be. So definitely test your personal. If you are going to use personalization, check the data, make sure you test it across different segments. It seems like a basic thing to think of, but I mean, still the pros and the big companies are still getting it wrong. So it's it's not a matter of if you're going to make a mistake, but when. That's always my mentality. So always triple check, especially using personalization.
I'm going to add in. Oh, sorry, you go, Alex.
Yeah. I've seen that as well. The wrong personalization link not working, or the first name not working, because in SMS sometimes it's not as integrated as the email. So in terms of using the CRM data, so I need to double check. And for sure, the character length super important, because from $500 you can spend 1,000. You can just double, for an extra character. And what I found very helpful as well is talking with Amy in a webinar. Is true, because she can provide really good tips for the copy or the position of the CTA, leading with the CTA above the fold in a preview as well. I think that's something that is important. The coupon code, like all those key super important message that needs to be seen at the first. So bounce back the ID with Amy, and then with your copywriter in the company for you have to work extra hard, because there's not much place, not much character for that.
Agree.
That's amazing. 160 characters, but small little things make.
Yeah. We might, I've got a minute left. Amy might just go on to that next slide. Also for everyone, make sure you always have your unsubscribe link in. So if we weren't able to get to any of your questions, or you've got any burning questions, I'll leave this up on the screen for a minute. You can scan the QR codes, reach out to any of us. Happy to answer any questions. Like I said, we'll be sending you the full recording of this. But really, we just want to leave you with best of luck with the Black Friday, Cyber Monday coming up. Plenty of strategies. Hopefully today you've been able to take away a couple of tips you can use this year. Hopefully you got something out of it, and love to see you all soon, and good luck for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and see you all soon.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thanks, guys.
Good luck.